This is called Puppets Up Close and Personal, Thinking Outside the Puppet Box. So I'm going to get the boring introduction, probably most of you already heard. Mr. Kathy Garrett, True Tabernacle Fresno, Pastor Timothy Lackey, former Pastor Elder Morton. I'm not going to go into my background. Let's see, I'll skip around. Worked in the Sunday school class for, in a second grade class for 20 plus years. And then during that time, I was asked a lot of times by different people to help them with puppet shows, so that's how I got going into doing some puppet shows. For a little while, when I was younger, I used to go to a couple of those one-way street or creative ministry conferences, learned a few things there, but most of it is just stuff we've done over the years, and I don't really, like it's called Thinking Outside the Puppet Box. I'm not really going to get into a lot of the actual production. Talk a little bit more about how other ways to use puppets in the classroom setting.
Excuse me.
What are you doing?
Talking to you? I want to help.
How can you help?
Well, I am your right-hand man.
You know, this is really embarrassing, talking to my hand.
You do it all the time.
Oh, that's right. But it kind of feels weird because I usually have eyes to look into.
Well, you do have some peepers, don't you?
Yeah, I guess.
How do I look? With bug eyes and feathers?
That's weird. But how, in the way, you said you could help me. You can be my right hand. How can you really help me?
Well, don't they know how to use their hand in the puppet shows?
Well, yeah, they do. They do know how to need to know how. So in what ways are you going, what tips are you going to give us?
Well, in the first place, I do want to say that puppets should not look at the ceiling when they're supposed to be looking at the people.
Amen.
You know, I was with these other puppets one time, and they said, "Hi, kids," and the rest of us looked to see if there was any kids on the ceiling. So make sure that the eyeballs are pointing at the class. And make sure your hand movements match the syllables on the word, big, or straightening, little, or whispering, like that. Did that help?
Yes, that helped a lot. Thank you.
I thought so. I'm very, very smart.
Hey, what about me? I'm the left hand and I help you carry all the props and stuff. I know. But this is really weird talking to my hand, so let's stop that. Oh, that's a little interesting thing here. Let me go back to where I was. Okay, I was a new convert. I was teaching the 7 and 8-year-olds, and I was very timid. I didn't want to talk. I told you this in the other class. I just wanted to be a secretary, but then I started,
Hello? Is it my turn yet?
no, it's not your turn yet. Remember the cue? There's a cue.
What's a cue?
It's a special word that I say.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I was in the 7 and 8-year-old class and teaching there, and I didn't want to do anything, but the teacher encouraged me that I could do better, and she told me that I could come out of my shell. I said I should come out of my shell.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh, yeah, that's a cue, right? That's a cue.
That's right, that's a cue. Got it. What are you supposed to be saying to these people?
Come out of your shell. It's boring staying inside your shell all the time.
Good job. Okay. I've used these close-up personal puppetry for a long time, and the kids really like it. It's not the same as, having to put together a whole puppet show. So you use it along with your Bible lesson, your songs, all you just allow a little 5-10 minute window. I didn't bring his house, but I had a puppet for many, many, many years, called him Rufus. He has a house about this big. I had too much stuff to bring. So I made him a new little portable house that I can just take with me today. And the kids, I used to say we have a special visitor today, and we'd bring the house out. And they just loved it when I said there's a special visitor. They would sit on the edge of their chair, And we had little special ways that we would bring him out and knock on the door, and he had a little curtain right here. And they would have different ways of waking Rufus up. Everybody, when I count to 3, say, chocolate donut. And, you know, he loves chocolate donuts, so he has a special, hey, yum, 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 chocolate donuts, yay! Yeah! And I love it, the kids are and then what we used Rufus for was teaching songs. I would teach the song to the children first, and then they would teach it to Rufus. Rufus always would get it wrong. I know, I'm a slow learner. I know. That's because we wanted to make the kids think that they were the smart ones teaching you how to sing the song. But as they were teaching you, they were learning it, or the Bible verse, or whatever it might be. So that was Rufus in a Box. I taught a little seminar like this, but just local in our own church, just for a little 30-minute thing. And I looked around the audience and I said, show of hands, who remembers Rufus from when you were in my Sunday school class? These were people with kids, their own kids now and everything. And I had quite a lot of people that were adults now that still remember Rufus from their childhood. Right? So, but what this form of poetry is called ventriloquism. And you don't have to know ventriloquism. I don't really know it that well, but I try to use it as much as I can, but certain letters are extremely hard. But this is Gerby. I'll put it around my neck. I can do it with all this other stuff. Okay. Gerby doesn't have to talk. Incognito, I guess. What are you doing with those sunglasses on, Gerby? I see your eyes. All right. So Gerby, I've used Gerby before in various ways. He looks kind of real as far as his movements. You got to keep them moving at all times. But the one way I like to tell people that they can do with this type of puppetry is if you're not comfortable with talking, which a lot of people say, I would love to do puppets, but I'm afraid I can't do the voices, or I can't do that ventriloquism stuff. Well, this is one way you can do it. What? Are you kidding me? No way. It's not polite to tell secrets in public. But you don't, I know why. Okay. You're telling me that these people look really nice, right? These kids look nice? That's because they came to Sunday school and they love Jesus, huh? Yeah. But anyway, you can actually have a puppet whisper to you and you interpret if you're not comfortable with the voices, and it kind of keeps a mystery to it. But Gerby does talk sometimes. My husband used them in, what grade was that, 10 and 11?
5th and 6th.
5th and 6th grade. He brought it one time and he didn't even try to use his, close his mouth when he talked to him. And the kids were so enthralled that one boy was leaving to go to the restroom without permission, and instead of my husband telling him to stop, the puppet said, "Hey, stop! What are you doing?" And he said the boy got real sheepish and sat back down. Because kids they don't care if you're moving your mouth. They just, that's true. All right, so let me go into the different kinds. What else I need? Okay, so I'm going to go into the various kinds of puppets. You can get the really expensive ones from England that my mom bought me. I don't use him very much, but he's a cute little guy. And you can use animal puppets. I think my girls got me. Somebody got me this on a trip. And a lot of the people that like to borrow this from me to tell the Daniel and the Lion's Den story. So they borrow him, use him. This is Rory. So, but these kind are expensive, so you have to save up your dollars to get those. But one year we decided to start making our own out of stuffed animals. It cost me about $1 to get him from the thrift store. And we were going to do the forest skit, so we needed a moose puppet. So he was just a stuffed animal. He couldn't talk. We just make the opening in the back. Put a black, like get a black sock or make a black sleeve, thread it through with the cardboard that you put for the mouth, and I can give more instructions later on this part of it, but in this way you can go to a thrift store or somewhere and find unusual ones that you might not find somewhere else at the store, and they're cheap. So we have a lot of fun with them. I bought this at the dollar store, and I thought one of these days I'll probably make some sort of bird puppet out of it. This used to be a goat, but one year I needed a sheep, and so I cut his little horns off. And sheep. Got converted from a goat. Oh, here's the stuff that I kind of just threw in the bag just to show that, you know, you make the sleeve so that you can put your arm up through all that cotton and not get stuck in there, and you hot glue it to the end so that your hand can make the mouth the same size as the stuffed animal's mouth. Put felt or something in there. You guys are the artistic ones, so you can probably figure it out. And don't, when you're buying the stuffed animal, if it feels really, really stiff, like you can't push on it, then it probably doesn't have cotton. It probably has this type of stuff. You don't want to open one of those. You'll have that styrofoam stuff all over your house. So I like to buy the ones that have stuffing, cotton stuffing, and you can pull them out. So that's talking about making your own. Another thing you can do is you can take a puppet that you buy and dress them up if you need a different kind of puppet. Maybe you don't want a baby puppet. You don't want a boy puppet, so you put a dress on. You don't want a baby, so you put some hair and a hat. Of course, you have to pin it, everything, or else it flies off during the puppet show. Oh no, I knew I shouldn't have worn that wig. So anyway, just some options if you don't want to buy a lot, but you need a girl in your story instead of a little baby boy, something like that. So, okay. Now, speaking of expensive puppets, my daughter Kim's going to demonstrate the one that she purchased from One Way Street. They're these sheep puppets that are very, very nice. They're expensive but nice.
Mom sprung this on me 5 minutes ago, so forgive me, I haven't practiced in a while. But this one, it's called Creative Ministry Solutions now. These are meant to be behind a stage because it doesn't have a body, so you wouldn't use this as a vent puppet. But the rods come from them, and they're sent them with rubber bands. That is how they connect them. So it's not high tech, and we didn't have enough rods, so I went to a hardware store and got cheap stiff wire and made my own with some duct tape. So you don't have to buy them, but anything with the hands you can do. They're crying. I put tied a handkerchief to this, and this one was crying for their sibling that was the lost sheep. So you have to work them together. It takes a lot of practice because you're moving the mouth and then remembering, and you can and you can drop one if it's easier to control, but you can, if you get really good, I had some girls that could clap, can wave, shout. They also did some pretty fun stuff. There was 3 of them. So they kind of just propped their hands here and made them look very realistic, and then they did their moves just kind of holding it. And so you don't have to be working the hands the whole time, but this kind of adds a lot of life to the puppets versus the ones that don't have. So I thought these are a great investment, that company. These are so lightweight. Your arms don't get tired as much as some of the ones that I've had before. Very heavy.
Yeah, thank you. I really liked. She wrote and audio recorded a whole puppet show about the lost sheep, and it's very good. And she did all the sheep voices. She changed her voice in all these different ways. It's really fun to listen to. And Mom was saying, he took the song "Where Is My Hairbrush" from VeggieTales and made a song, "Oh, where is my sheepy?" He was the shepherd. That was a really cool puppet. I do a little skit called the Clean Heart Lesson, and I bring out a lot of cleaners, all kinds of cleaners, soaps and various cleaners and various scrub brushes and everything. And we talk about, can this clean your heart? Can that clean your heart? And we go on and on about that. Banter back and forth with children about, can this, no, and we get it back to only Jesus can clean your heart. And then, of course, we like to end it up with this little puppet. And I think I showed this in the last class that Kim did it with her donut monster puppet. But you just take a box, and this one's kind of very old, so hopefully it still looks good. But and I don't even know if they sell tied in boxes like this anymore. But so I said, oh, what's this? I have one more cleaner, and I looked inside, and I said, oh, there's just socks in here, just old socks. I don't know why. I was like, what sock? Oh! What is that? Oh! Socks don't say ouch, do they?
Sock puppets do. When you pinch them like that.
And so we kind of have to make sure we're remembering to stay with our hand down and everything to the audience so that it gives more of an illusion of two hands. So that's kind of, so tell the secret, of course. I hate telling my secret from the kids in the class. Maybe, but just a hole in the box with a stuffed hand. And of course, you have to remember to wear the same color glove that. So that's that little tricky one. Okay. Kim, you want to come back here? We're demonstrate how we like to use little music band puppets in our little music band. So she's going to show you what it looks like when we take rubber bands and rubber band the instruments to we play like lively songs. Let me see if I have one. Okay, just show them how we work it. Okay. We usually get a really lively song with trumpets, and the animals play while all the kid puppets are up here singing their song. Leave them one more time up there because there's people taking pictures. Taking pictures. Oh, fixing the saxophone. And for whatever reason, the kids love those two puppets. I use them a lot, and the kids just think they're great. That's fun, huh? Yes, that's good. Sorry. Anybody know what time this class is going to? I don't know when the next one starts.
1:55.
1:55?
No, you're good.
It'll be the first class I run out of stuff instead. One year I decided I wanted a drum set because I'm a drummer. I like to play drums. And so I made one. I just took, let me just show you since I do have time. I just took some plain old oatmeal boxes, and I just started playing around trying to figure out how I could do it without spending any money, too much money, and just kind of played around with boxes and things and foil. Let's see what I have here. Okay. So then I'm not going to raise him up. I'm going to bring him out because he's a little bit. That's cool. But let me bring him up a little bit forward here. So what we do is we raise this up, but it's a little bit rickety today. I'm trying to figure it out. So I didn't want to make it fall off. But we have someone hiding down here, of course, the puppeteer, and he's up here. And during the song, of course, he's getting down. We've had a lot of fun. You used, she redid them. These used to be red, and she did them with this nice sparkly blue stuff. So what we do is, did I put it together right, Kim? So you just kind of raise them up and the puppeteer is hiding down there. Makes a lot of fun for the puppet band when you have a nice lively song that has drums. I redid it the other day. It used to be all attached permanently, but I kind of wanted to put it in a box, so I undid everything and just did use Velcro. Velcro is really nice for stuff when you want to make it portable. You can take things apart, stick them back together. Okay, any questions so far? In the other class, the skit class, I talked about that little effect we had. I found the material I was looking for in that class, but find some sort of ocean backdrop material, and then you put another layer in front. Was anybody in the skit class? You probably saw those pictures. And so we opened up a lot of these bags and we taped the blue tablecloth, dollar store tablecloth plastic, all the way around, and we left just enough to where the kids could see. You don't want them to be able to see the puppeteers that are standing behind here. So the blue material has to go at least, or the tablecloth has to go to at least right here. And then we used the strings and we did the fish, and we went from outside the ocean on our skit to undersea. And we did the fish puppets. And then we had Shady Blackheart and one of the sailors diving around down there, looking for the treasure. So it was part skit, part puppet show. This is not mine, this is for the Phillips. Alright, so I'm going to do one puppet show for you. I'll get that back. Okay, any questions yet?
Your stage, is it made out of PVC
Oh,
pipe?
that's a good question. I did talk about that in other class, but, yes, it is.
You know, or is it a DAP, like a wood?
Okay, that knows it's probably PVC. It is, if you can see this, it's PVC pipe with a paint can with cement in it. The bottom half is permanently in there, and it's out right now, pretty tight, but it's screwed into, this top part is screwed so you can, we alternate, sometimes we need even an 8-foot backdrop. We need 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot, whatever we need. We alternate the pipes that screw in, and the top part is one of those T attachments with the top part cut off, so that we can just set the curtain on top. And we usually tape it up and get it really permanent. Pin it if it needs pin, tape it because you don't want to be right in the middle of your puppet show and whole. We did have that happen one time. We're right in the middle of the puppet show and the curtain went flying down, and we were like, we like to do, what I was going to talk about on these puppet shows, a lot of times we like to do really simple ones. Maybe we don't have a lot of notice. So I like to write a lot of ones that we can do quickly and grab some young people and just show them really quickly what they need to do. You have to train them a little bit on their hands. Oh, another training thing about the hands. When one puppet is talking and the other one is just listening, they still need to be acting lifelike. The other one over here, I've seen this in puppet shows where this one is busy talking, so this one thinks he can just like, be however. Your hand, I know you get tired and you want to rest, so your hands is, but you got to remember to keep them alive at all times when they're showing with the kids. So have him looking at the other one, nodding, laughing if something's funny. whatever it might be, but I've seen too often where the puppets kind of go dead right in the middle of the puppet show, or they begin to droop, which it's easy to start drooping. How many's ever done a long puppet show and your arm is just like, and so you really have the tendency to droop. I noticed that, and so you kind of got, if you need to, I've told the puppeteers that help me, if you need to, put your arm down for a minute and then for a second, and then go back up. The kids will wonder what happened, but at least your arm won't fall off. Another deal that we do is we'll take Sunday school songs from CDs, kids songs, and I have that Audacity software, and I take the song and I'll cut it down to 2 minutes or leave just maybe one verse, a couple chorus, because I've had 5-minute songs and the puppeteers are about to die and about to kill me. 5 minutes. And it's okay if you have this person doing a solo, this one can go down, this one's doing a solo now. But when it's a chorus or something and they have to stay up there for 5 minutes, it's really hard. So you can get some sort of software and cut down your songs to a little bit shorter. We use a lot of props where, find out. Well, any puppet that has arms, you can rubber band a stick and have them come up and do the signs, props, anything like that. It adds to, when you're doing a song, it adds to it to have a puppet coming up in the background with the words to the song or something like that. The main thing is a lot of movement. Don't let it just be dead. We wrote this one that's very easy to grab young people. Sorry. It's very, very easy. It's one we call Holy Ghost Will Take the Chicken Out of You. You heard that song?
Yes.
Okay, so we made a devil puppet. It was a bird. We somehow changed it up quite a bit. It doesn't look like a bird anymore. It used to be a bird, and now it's the devil puppet. So, let me see if I can turn this. I don't think it's working. I don't hear it. So go ahead and hold those chickens. So
the Holy Ghost will take the chicken out of you. The Holy Ghost will take the chicken out of you. You can beat up the devil.
So basically, we get someone back here. We used to have a big baseball bat. I don't know what happened to it. And the devil would come up. Well, we have a singer singing it.
To live inside. You shall receive power from
A boy with that voice. And then we do the chickens.
The Holy Ghost will take the chicken out of you. The Holy Ghost will take the chicken out of you. You can beat up the devil.
And so the kids always like that part, right, kids? They love the part where the devil gets beat up. They get to get a lot of laughs out of that. It's one of those fast, throw together puppet shows.
You can beat up the devil, make him black and blue. When the Holy Ghost takes the chicken out of you. It's a promise for the children and their children too. The Holy Ghost will.
So find a fun song and figure out something that you can do quickly. The other two classes, I had so much stuff left over there. Let's see what I So I just have different props that we made over the years. Singing about the Bible, singing about the oil of my lamp, which I did tell the other class that the kids probably don't even know what that means anymore. We have to say the batteries in my flashlight or something. that because I'm not quite sure what oil in my lamp means. Just making simple props. I also explained in my other class that I'm not artistic. So we just use, this one kind of got squashed in my suitcase, but we just decorate it up, make it a little bit colorful. If you want an outdoor theme, get a green tablecloth or a green thing, put it on here. And some of you that are artistic probably will make this into a beautiful landscape scene. You might have a blue sky back. You're going to add some flowers, whatever, make it colorful. We don't always use this black backdrop. We try to make it as colorful. So just quick ideas of making it colorful. Uncle Hannon, you have some ideas you want to talk about. He's the expert back there. Nobody's ever taken a class by Uncle Hannon. So I'm just trying to remember what else is on this. This is my original ugly. Oh, this is the one. Okay, that's right. Sometimes this is my trick that I like to use sometimes to get the kids' attention, is the game where we guess the song. You have to be back there with your kazoo. Everybody can play kazoo, right? So my puppets got her kazoo.
You like that?
Yeah.
Did you like that one-eyed pirate?
See, you could buy things at the thrift store all the time. These little candle holders can become a trumpet. Let's jump in here. Like I said, you're singing about something about one God. You know, you've got some action going in the back with some people. They don't have to know how to work the puppet. They can know how to hold up the little signs and so forth. I brought this because someday I want to make some ocean puppet show, and it's just the top of a hat. The shark, you know. When we're doing puppet show for the church and it's really dark in there and spotlight, we use little dollar store lights and things and hang our lines back here and shine our lights so you can see your lines. Sometimes we do have lines if we want to have an actual story. We'll hang our lines in the back, and that way we don't have to memorize. We can have interaction between the puppets. I like live, but the ones like Kim does is more feasible, or when you have to do it maybe 4 times in the same day. We just tell them about what you do. In Fremont, they have once a year a swap meet or flea market that they close down the whole area around the church, so they can't have church. So they decided to make it a outreach tool with them. So what they do is they sell things and stuff, but they also have information about Bible studies and so forth, information about their church. So as people walk by to go to these various places where they're buying things during this flea market, they come by the church and they'll see the things they have out. Well, one of the methods they want to get some more kids for their Sunday school, they do a puppet show 4 times in the same day. So it's more feasible to have one that's pre-recorded, that people don't have to memorize the lines and try to use their voices, and their voices will go out. So they pre-record it, get some young people, they go to the church quite a few times and practice the movement, like with the sheep. Make sure, and she said that the young people got really good at doing the movements with the puppets, with all the training. And then the hardest part I feel with that is lip movement, because when you're talking with a puppet, you know what is about to be said right now. So, when you're using a audio, you don't know exactly what's coming next, so your lips might not be
Well,
moving.
what we do to counteract that is we actually do type out the script. They still have their highlighted parts
That's a good
in
idea.
front of them, and so they're reading it and talking as they hear it. So that way we are still doing our best to stay synchronized.
Try to stay synchronized, and so it is a good method to do. You can get together ahead of time and put some background music in it, some funny voices, get it all written out. I know some other churches I've heard do that. They get the skits all written out and recorded, and then all they have to do is get people in place to be the different characters, and it doesn't matter if they can do the voice or not. So that's a good way to do it. And then you can save it for later, do it again, and so forth. So, and then they use, what do you use for the material for your backdrop?
Usually I buy duck cloths from like Hancock's or Joann's Fabric just by the yard, and we paint it with the cheap acrylic paints from like Michael's or any craft store. I just look for images on Pinterest. I can copy big cartoonish things. I can't do fine details. But we have a lot of people in our church. We try to tap the artistic ones that aren't necessarily Sunday school, but I draft them once a year.
Yeah, so they have some really good backdrops. I did a slideshow for the skit class earlier. It would have been nice to do one because I could show some of the backdrops they've done. But they did the, I think my little prop is in my skit stuffs package. But what we did one year, years ago, I wanted to do a puppet show with a bus. So we cut a bus, a really big bus, out of cardboard and painted it white with a red stripe like True Tabernacles buses, and put little windows for the driver and all the different, and we had puppets on each window riding on the bus. Well, that year I wanted to make the wheels turn. So it's like, how can I do that? Well, we bought dollar store fans and hooked them behind there and hooked the wheels, and we could actually turn them on, and the wheels would spin on the bus. So then when she did their House on the Sand and the House on the Rock skit, they made a Woody vehicle when they're on their way to the beach, and the little wheels were turning with the fans. And so that's kind of a fun thing, is to do something a little different, something a little extra like that with the wheels turning. But like I said, I don't use the huge puppet shows as much as I do myself. A lot of one-on-one with the children in a small, if you're in a little class setting, or you can even take this PVC pipe and make a little puppet stage for the corner of your class. It doesn't even have to be something huge, just some little something that you put a curtain on, and it could fit right in the corner of your little tiny class, and you can do the puppets for the class. And so just do it. And a lot of people at True Tabernacle, where I go, I teach these classes about puppets, or I talk about encouragement in using puppets because kids like them. And I have so many people tell me, you do it well, but I can't do that. Well, yes, you can. You can do it. Just try it, because that is a really good way to reach kids. Kids love puppets. Even adults love puppets. I did a little seminar with that derby puppet that I wear around, and I had some adults say, when I saw you with that puppet, I sat up straighter. I was ready to listen, because I believe that, it brings out attention. So it's always good. So don't say, well, I can't do that. Try one in a box, like Rufus. Something simple. Make a little box. This one is not the real thing. It's got sides, and it's got a roof and everything. It's got a hole and a curtain and come out. Try something like that and tell the kids, we have a special visitor today. Maybe just do a little song, and then tell them if you want them to come back next week, how many want to see a special visitor next week? Then they're all going to want to come back the next week. So, well, I think I'm out of material unless anybody has any questions. Or once I've done out, instead of having too much. What's that?
Just let people look at the puppet.
Yeah, if anybody wants to look at anything or find out anything, like I said, somebody was in a skit class. We had a skit group that all we did was go from class to class. So we made some traveling suitcases and we called ourselves the World Traveling Puppeteers. We went from class to class doing skits, and we each carried one. And then we would just set up really quick in the classroom, and we'd leave. It was a lot of fun. They liked it. The teachers liked it when we came. One of the teachers was asking me one of the people from my last class was asking me about my songs. In the skit class, I talked about making up your own songs to a tune of another song. For example, if you're teaching the lepers, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little lepers, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little lepers, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little lepers, 10 were healed that day. Only one said, thank you, Jesus. Only one said, thank you, Jesus. Only one said, thank you, Jesus. Only one that day. And anyway, I can't remember exactly how. And so then we made up different songs like Home on the Range, Here in the Church, where we read the Bible and pray. Our hands we will raise as we give Jesus praise, and his words we will learn to obey. So you can do that with puppets as well as classroom settings, skits. Find a tune you like they did with Where is my hairbrush? Has anybody ever heard that song?
Yeah.
Oh, where is my hairbrush? Well, Where is my sheepy? That's a great song. I know Mondo would probably kill me if I played it right now. But anyway. So be creative, think outside the puppet box. Okay.